Good evening and welcome to Sauce News. Here's your Sauce team. I am Noemi Gomez and this is my co-host
Zeez and Ivory.
Well, our topic for today is unemployment.
When talking about unemployment, we usually speak in rates that are up and down, but the focus of our research was the outliners and the trends. Outliers being the pieces of data that seem to stick out from the rest, so the places in the country with the highest or the lowest unemployment rates trend or not the constants, which tells us whether our rates are going up or down. These two things helps us isolate the causes of unemployment and the state of the county.
We also talk about the means of unemployment data. When looking at data, you usually want to look and compare the mean, median, mode, range, and standard deviation. Mean being the average, median being the middle number, mode being the most common, range is the difference between the highest and lowest number, and standard deviation is the measure of the central tendencies. Central tendencies being another gauge of middle data. The government only posts the mean for the yearly data. The mean is the best and most accurate way to show what kind of shape the economy is in. We at Sauce News also believe that mean is the best visual of unemployment data.
One of the main reasons for unemployment is all the new technology, some companies, workers, and talents at the back of the line. By this I mean once important industries aren't so important anymore. It means we now have a bunch of people with talents that aren't necessarily needed. This includes people that are in college already getting degrees for skills they don't know aren't needed. That's the main problem. A bunch of people just don't know that they will be more successful and more needed in other areas. This is called structural unemployment, where there are more workers than there are jobs. The recession doesn't help either because it causes the demands for goods and services to go down, which means some companies have to cut employees to stay afloat. This is called cyclical unemployment. The other type of unemployment is frictional unemployment, which basically means when employees know they're going to get cut, or they know they're going to quit, they don't line up jobs in time and spend a long period of time from one job to the other being unemployed. One of the reasons rural employment rates are higher in this recession is that education levels in rural counties are lower. The percentage of adults with a college degree or more in urban areas is nearly twice that of rural communities. There was a study by Edward Glacier, who is a Harvard University economist, for the New York Times, and he researched and only looked into cities. He found that just as long-term urban success is tightly linked with a city's skills, current economic distress is also highly correlated with an area's education. According to Glacier, there should be nothing surprising in the fact, since skills have always been known for some time to predict a region's economic success. Another problem is that it's hard for states to make more jobs and definitely hard enough to catch up. North Carolina would have to make 165,000 more jobs to catch up with how bad they are in unemployment. There was a report showing that if the state would hire more teachers, emergency responders, and things like that, they would put the state money right back into the local economy. But the problem is that the state is already in debt, and this plan would likely raise taxes. And local unemployment will always vary. In 2012, unemployment sat at 9.7% for the country, but most people don't look for work nationwide. They can find jobs to a city or region, which makes sense. And local rates differ widely. The national rate is just a general gauge of the country's economic health. Now, if we go to Brittany, she will show you some graphs and explain what they mean and how they correlate with unemployment.
Thank you. And that is exactly right. If you could look at these graphs, you can see straight on the certain things correlate with the unemployment rate. The first being the number of bachelors against the unemployment rate, showing that the higher number of bachelors, the lower the employment. The next one showing the trends of employment in rural, urban, and ex-urban, which proves that rural unemployment has kept higher for the most part. Thank you.
Now we took unemployment data for the counties that each of our newscasters live in and found a national based on that. Surprisingly, an average was actually far from the real national average, the real average being smaller than ours in 2009 from our calculations.
Actually, if you break down the data, you can see that Marion County seemed to be the closest to the national average throughout the 4 years. In 2009, the national rate was 7.3%, while Marion County was 8.3%. Other than that, Hamilton County, Putnam County, and Marion County were mainly the three counties that averaged out to be near the same percent as the national averages for the 4 years. The other three counties were higher than the national average by 3 to 4%. Another observation, just looking at the data, was the worst year for high unemployment was 2010. And 2011, whereas 2009 and 2010 have around the same data for most counties.
The main outlier in our data is Anson County, which stayed constantly lower than the other counties. Trends are contents from the most part 2010 and 2011, staying the same around the average of 9% for the whole year. In 2012, the rates went a steady and a slow pace down.
Well, that's all for this edition. Join us next time with awesome news.